I'm Syd Meshkov. These days I'm working at Caltech. I worked in high energy theory for 32 years of my life, but for the last 4 years I've been working on a gravity wave detector project called LIGO. And the idea is to detect gravitational waves.
And as you work on it, are you working on it in what respect?
Oh, I'm something totally out of character. I'm basically being a scientific bureaucrat. I organize conferences, and I'm in charge of a visitor program where we get people to come visit for long periods, short periods. We formed some giant collaboration called LIGO Science Collaboration, where we've got some 20-some institutions in it. It's not just Caltech and MIT who are the official sponsors of this thing. And so we try to coordinate their activities. And unlike high energy physics, it was a group of people used to working in little small clumps. And there are a whole bunch of us who were well, I don't regard myself as an ex-high energy physicist. I'm a high energy physicist. But we're used to working together, and these guys had to be made to work together. And it wasn't easy, but I think we finally are succeeding.
Has the Aspen Center for Physics figured in the LIGO project?
Absolutely. I think very critically. When I joined LIGO, which was about 1994, in the fall of 94, I immediately asked our board and officers and so on, I'm a general member, so I'm kind of one of them, whether we could have a gravitational wave conference in the winter as one of the winter conference series. Up to then, we'd had 3, particle, condensed, and astro. And everybody agreed this was a good idea. And we've had them for the last 4 years, except this year the French physicists wanted it to be part of Morion. So we went to Morion, but we're coming back in the year 2000 in prime time, in fact. The role that Aspen played was that it's a neutral territory, neutral turf. So you're not on any particular group's home ground. And in that community, people were and are very sensitive to their particular turf. And by having organizational meetings in Aspen, it was the beginning of the formation of these science collaborations and getting people to work together. So it's a typical Aspen venture, because that's one of the main functions of Aspen.
In a way, many years earlier, Bob Wilson planned Fermilab here.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't there a direct parallel?
I think it's very similar. It's not the same way because LIGO was already conceived of. But my first year here, in fact, was 1968, and that's when it was then called the National Accelerator Laboratory, before it became Fermilab. And that was very exciting because people were planning what they were going to do. And in the first meetings here vis-a-vis LIGO, it was very similar. People were planning what experiments, what collaborations could be formed, how do you combine people. So, I mean, it's continued. When I first came here, I had a real job. I worked for the National Bureau of Standards doing high energy theory. When I first came, now National Bureau of Standards is called NIST, N-I-S-T, and the name change is real. It changed its focus tremendously. When I came to NBS, that was 1962. 5 years before, they had just done the crucial parity violation experiment by Ray Hayward and various others, and Ray's wife, Evans Hayward, had done an experiment which they discovered something called the giant dipole resonance in nuclei, and these were very important things. So they had a large nuclear physics group, and I'd done nuclear physics for about 7 years, and before I went to Weizmann, they had offered me a job to come there, and eventually I did come there. So I had a salary, had a real salary, real position. I had 3 kids, wife.
But I mean during the summer.
During the summer, I had a 12-month salary. I was a civil servant. I had first heard of Aspen in 1962. I was at Weizmann Institute. A physicist named Michel Barranger, who was a buddy of Stranahan's and Mike Cohen's, was visiting at Weizmann, and he asked me if I would be interested in coming to Aspen, and I was then trying to decide where I was going to go, and so I turned it down. But even then, Aspen had some cachet of, wow, gee, you need some special pull to get in. And I didn't realize Michelle was the special pull to get in. And then I had been in Aspen originally in 1956, driving across the country to a conference in Seattle, and it was gorgeous, and I loved it. I could have traded in my car for the Hotel Jerome in that era. but when we came back in '68, I was actually at a summer school at Boulder, and I had the whole family, wife, kids, mother-in-law, I mean, you name it, in a station wagon. And I got the bureau to change my travel orders to come here for a few weeks. I walked in the front door of Stranahan, and there's Mike Cohen. And Mike says, oh, we got to get you a place to stay. So he's on the phone calling various realtors. And just then, Ruby Scher walks in. Ruby was an experimental physicist from Princeton who had played a crucial role in my career, because I came to visit in Princeton originally for a summer to work with Carl Levinson and Manoj Banerjee on SU3 and nuclei, and it was on Ruby's contract. And then our plans changed, and I was going to stay at Princeton for a while before going to Weizmann, and Ruby had me on the contract. So we were old friends. Anyhow, Ruby walks in, he says, oh, there's a condo open next door to us at Chamonix, why don't you come look? So I went and looked, and there was this beautiful valley, and Maroon Creek is cascading down. I took one look, said sold. But I remember my reaction when I walked in the front door of Stranahan, originally, first time. I figured, I'm home, that's it. I love it. I love being in Aspen, and I love being at the Physics Center. So that was my early experience.
Are you a climber or just a hiker?
No, I am not a climber. I'm a hiker. I learned to ski at some late age. I love to pick mushrooms. I play tennis. I do almost everything here.
Have you noticed the strange connection between mountains and physics?
Yeah, in fact, I'm not sure I understand. I have a feeling that it goes back to European ancestry, and I know that from what I gather, that various European families went out on hikes every weekend. It was kind of a Achtung, you will walk. My ex-wife came from Czechoslovakia, and she had that attitude. I think it stems from European origins, but who cares? It's great to do. I came in '68. What I remember is when I came in, I think that day that I came, Murray was giving a lecture on, what was he giving a lecture on? On a theory that he had, which he never published, and I think he's happy he never published it, but everybody was eager to hear it. And the whole emphasis was, when is Murray here? Everybody would schedule their stay in Aspen in the summer of when Murray was here. It was not workshoppy. It was very unbureaucratic. As I say, almost no structure. The structure was Stranahan and Mike Cohen, and then Randy had become president the first year I came, I think. So it was neat.
Do you miss that?
Yeah, sure. But I mean, you can't turn back the clock. I mean, that's just the way it is.
The environment here has helped the gravity part.
Oh yeah. It's now become part and parcel of it. Yeah. I think everything that happens here. You remember, years ago there used to be a joke form physics phys rev letters paper, in which the last paragraph said, we wish to thank the Aspen Center for Physics for blank, 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 which started this research. I mean, it just goes on and on. It certainly was true in my case. There were many things I worked on which started right here. The public lecture series kind of got its start after, I think it was the 25th anniversary. That's when we had our T-shirts designed so that we had this particular logo. Actually, let me digress and tell you about the T-shirts. Because somewhere around, it's not 60s, this was early 80s. Steve Berry and I decided it would be nice to have T-shirts. So we went up to the then president, who was Elihu, and we said, Elihu, how about T-shirts? And he says, oh, that's gross, that's too cheap. So we figured, oh, the heck with that. And Steve and I went out, and the first year Steve fronted the money, and we had a photograph of maroon bells. It was we had one color for the shirt. It was a light blue, and it was maroon bells in maroon. And then each year we changed it, and we knew that life had become good because we began to have long sleeve T-shirts. And one year Elihu said, you know, I'd like a long sleeve T-shirt, but could you leave out that design in the center? But so we knew that everything was good. And the first couple of years, our shirts, many years actually, our shirts were made by T-Man. That was Murphy. His business doesn't exist now. He owns the property and built a house up top. But Murphy would make these shirts, and it was pretty good. We had a photograph of a different mountain each year, and then to celebrate I guess it's the 25th anniversary, we hired a young lady who was a graphic arts person, and she made this design for us, and we've used it ever since. Now it's a big business. Now I'd say most of the people around here have the vaguest idea that Barry and I started the T-shirts.
We'll have to have a museum with the T-shirts.
I've in various places I have all the T-shirts, and it would be neat to have a display because they had the first 5 years they had different mountains and they had different colors. By now we got every color in the world. Yeah. Oh, the public lectures. Sir. Okay, sorry. Thank you very much. I think they really started after the 25th anniversary, and they've gone through various structures of who was organizing them and so on. But the whole idea has been to repay the city of Aspen and the community here for their kind hospitality over the years. And we don't have very many good ways of repaying it other than being a good citizen. And we started having these public lectures. And some of them have been very successful and some not been so successful, but we try to have people who will try to explain to the public at large what it is we do. It's actually a very difficult task, and not many people are up to it. When the winter conferences started in 1985, then we instituted the policy of having one public lecture per week during the winter season. And that's worked very well, because I've come back to Aspen, turned on the TV at the Meadows, and I see myself on there, and I'm introducing somebody like Kip Thorne, and that's fun.
Interesting. It's always interesting too how many physicists come to them, so that the lectures are of interest to physicists.
They're of interest, but they're really not oriented towards them. And some speakers have to be whipped into shape and made to understand that what they're talking about, it's not a physics colloquium. This is really a lecture for people who are literate, intelligent, but not scientists. I mean, Aspen is very lucky. From all the numbers I've read, the two cities in the United States with the highest number of years of education after college are Aspen and Los Alamos. And so when you speak to a group in Aspen, you're speaking to a group of highly educated people. They like to live a good life because this is a good place to be, but they want to be informed about what's happening.